Hello, my amigos. I'm here with the memory of the month. Stay tuned and we'll get into it. So recently, a follower suggested that I show some more pictures of Bradley when he was younger. So because Bradley is 30, I had to go and dig for some boxes of photographs. So it was a really great suggestion, and I'm so glad that follower gave me that suggestion. But I was going through some boxes of pictures, and I came across a picture of Bradley, and I'll put it right here. As you can see, he's very young. He's about 6 months old, and he is in a hospital gown and even has a little hospital bracelet on. Gosh, that was so long ago. It was, 29 and a half years ago. But my autism journey started with a seizure, basically. Bradley was 4 months old and he had what we thought was a seizure, but we weren't sure. We saw it happen, we talked to the doctor about it, but she really wasn't sure. And so then we got one of the big old video cameras and we videotaped Brad having a seizure. And I guess most seizures, the infant presents going back. Bradley presented going forward. So when we were describing this to the doctor, it didn't really sound like a seizure. But when we got the videotape out and she watched it, she's like, yep, that's a seizure. And so at 4 months is when we really realized, something's going on with this baby. And I often wonder if that 4 months was a curse or a blessing, and I'm not really sure, because if you have a child with Down syndrome, right away you know that you have a child with Down syndrome. From the minute that baby is born, you know your child has a disability, he has Down syndrome. But with us and for autism, you don't have that. Autism is kind of invisible until the behaviors start to present itself. So we, up until 4 months old, thought he was a typically developing baby. And then when we saw seizures, we thought, something's going on here. And so again, I still, just had hope that it's maybe a seizure disorder and it was nothing more than that. But once we got him into the hospital and they started doing some testing on him, we quickly realized that there were some abnormalities in his brain that were probably causing the seizures. What I was told at the time was if somebody has a seizure, the best thing is to not know why the seizure happened. Just that it was some kind of fluke that we don't know, but the seizure happened and it probably won't happen again. But for him, we could actually see from brain scans that there were some things going on in his brain that were causing the seizures. 4 months old, we saw the seizures. At 6 months old, we were able to really start to see the differences in his brain that were causing the seizures. And so that really started our journey. So one of the things that they did was he was considered to have infantile spasms, and he was on a medication, I'll never forget it. It's called ACTH, and I think it's almost like a growth factor hormone, if I am correct. But I want to just show you a picture here is a picture of Bradley at 6 months old, and this was a week before he went into the hospital. And then here is a picture of Bradley at 9 months old, and you can see how huge he is, because that was a growth hormone, and you can see from 6 months to 9 months how it really impacted him physically. You can see his face is really full, and that's called mooning. When people are on these types of medications, they get really, really full in the face. And Bradley became a very strong 9-month-old that would push around furniture. He wasn't walking, he was pushing furniture around. I go back and I just think about those 4 months when we just had, a perfect, typical baby. And then between 4 and 6 months, kind of that hospitalization inquiry phase and all the tests that he had to go through. And then at 6 months realizing, hey, there's something going on. It's probably serious. We need to start with some medication and it's really going to change him. And when I really started to, learn that he probably will have some cognitive disabilities, might be slow to learn things. Of course, we didn't know anything that autism was on the horizon yet. But I remember having just overwhelming sensations when Bradley was an infant, and basically when I would hold him and nurse him, and I had this overwhelming feeling that I used to tell people about, like, there's something special about this baby. There's something special about him. He is going to be special. And I never had those same feelings with my first son. And I know that sounds terrible, but there was something about Bradley that just made me think, he's special and he's unique. And I was thinking, maybe he'll be the president of the United States someday. I'm not sure what it is, but I, would just tell people, like, I don't know, there's something really unique and special about Brad. I can just feel it. And here I am 30 years later, and I would say, absolutely, there's something really wonderful and special about Bradley. And Bradley has autism, and he has accomplished so much in his life. And I couldn't be more proud of Bradley than if he were the president of the United States. And I always, felt in my heart that there was something great and special about him, and there absolutely is. And I am so fortunate to work in a field where I get to meet so many people with autism and disabilities, and I can tell you that they are all unique and special people who have accomplished so much, and whose parents could not be more proud of them than if they were the president of the United States. To this day, I still remember, that feeling that I had, holding him, and just maybe it was just mother's intuition, maybe trying to prepare me, something's gonna happen. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it, but I think that 4 months before Bradley did have a diagnosis, I think that was a blessing in a way, because I did have that time where, I just enjoyed him and didn't have to worry about, a disability and what was going to come. And so I guess in a way I would say that time was a blessing, as opposed to, being a curse. And sometimes, ignorance is bliss. But just that photograph that I pulled out of him in his little hospital gown reminded me of this very special time that I had with him, and these very special feelings that I had about him, and how I was absolutely right. There is something truly unique and special about Brad, and there's something truly unique and special about all of the children with disabilities and autism in our lives that we love. So thank you so much for being here with me today. I look forward to seeing you on another episode of Life with the Side of Autism. Thank you so much for your support. Take care.